Message translation that I just read made me think of, as soon as I read, "The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood," was, "Who are the people in your neighborhood?" Remember that? In your neighborhood. That is, old Sesame Street, but it's a good song. You can find it on YouTube. And I started thinking, what a wonderful image that can give us. What a wonderful image we can have, because who are the people in our neighborhood? Where did Jesus move into? Now, we would in general say our neighborhoods are what? Groupings where our houses are, right? And then you have an app called, what is that called? Nextdoor? Somebody help me out. Nextdoor, thank you. That has a much larger understanding of neighborhood than what I do. The neighborhoods are bigger than what I would think of them as, and so our neighborhoods expand. They get bigger. There's more people involved. And then, if we really think about it, what is our neighborhood? Maybe the world? Do we really have these boundaries in God and Jesus where we're only in this one place and we only have to care about these one specific group of people? Now, I am not saying that we should be, able to care and do everything for everyone, because that is just not practical or feasible. But I want to go back to this gospel, and there was an option for me to not read all of it, but I think it's important to read all of it, because it sets the stage for the Gospel of John, which we only get bits and pieces of on holidays, and we'll probably have it next Sunday too, since it's the baptism of our Lord next week. But this was written in a time where there was a certain kind of literature around. And John is written very much in that kind of literature, where it starts and the people are given information that the people in the story don't have. So what you have is kind of a summary, what to expect, what to look for as you read the Gospel of John. He starts right at the beginning, calling Jesus the Word. The Word was first, the Word present to God, God present to the Word was God in readiness for God from day one. He was connecting Jesus back to Hebrew, back to Judaism, back to the first roots of the church, and calling him, and I love this as part of the message, the lifelight. The lifelight. Now, if you think about the time that the people were living here, how much of the day do you think was light? They didn't have these lovely lights like we have. They didn't have electricity. They spent much of their day in darkness. And while they may have had oil lamps or fire, a lot of their time was spent in darkness. And you can see how that light would be such a gift in that understanding. And not only was Jesus the light, he was the life light. The life light. Giving light in darkness. And a light that wasn't available only sometimes, but all the time. And he wasn't far away, hard to get to, never knowing what was going on, like the other gods that people worshipped at the time. Jesus was right there in the mix of things. Right there. Flesh and blood. People could talk to him. And he didn't come in as this big-time emperor wearing all purple clothes, because purple was very hard to make, and so only rich people had it. He didn't come in like that. He came as a little baby. Now, babies are adorable, but they can also be kind of a pain sometimes, too. See, the giggling means I know you know. He came as a baby, needing to be taken care of, which he was, by Joseph and Mary. This is our life light. And he moved into the neighborhood. Now, it would be a lot easier if we could just say Jesus moved into this little neighborhood. We'll call it the Little Lutheran neighborhood. And if we even want to make it smaller, we can call it the Little ELCA neighborhood, the church body that we are a part of at this congregation, and say, that's all we have to focus on. We will follow Jesus, we will care for people, and we will do it all from our little ELCA neighborhood. But the thing is, when Jesus moves into a neighborhood, he doesn't put boundaries on it. So when we see people struggling in other places, even in other denominations, maybe even in other religions, in other countries, we at least need to care. Because Jesus didn't come to say, okay, good job, people. You're doing great. Keep it up. I will have my eye on you and only on you. He came to say, I know that you are probably trying your best, but it's just not cutting it. You're thinking about yourselves, first and foremost, and what's best for you. And that's not working. That's not what God is about. That's not what I am about. And when we are made into our true selves, child of God's selves, that doesn't mean we all of a sudden become these amazing, perfect people. It means we follow Jesus, who has moved into the neighborhood, who has shown care and love for all people, all of creation. And so when we see suffering happen, we need to care. Can we fix it all? No. But can we do something? Yes. And there are agencies set up to help people. And really, showing compassion goes a long way. So when we see in Australia the people who are suffering from awful, awful fires, we can try to help the organizations that are working to help them put out the fires. And remember, even when the fires are put out eventually, in whatever manner that looks like, even remembering that that's not the end of it. All of the animals that have died and all of the homes that have been destroyed, this is going to be a long-term thing. And Australia is not the only place in the world that's suffering. There's a lot of places that we can help, and there are a lot of organizations that are working to do just that. We can help those. We can pray. We can show compassion for people. Because God has shown compassion for us and shown us how to give that compassion abundantly. It doesn't run out. We don't ever run out of it. We always have that love that God has given us. Love and love. Whatever our gifts are, in whatever way we can reach out, whether it be across the world or to our neighbor next door, or to even more than one. We don't have to just have two choices, right? Jesus has moved into the neighborhood, and boy, we're part of that neighborhood. So who are the people in your neighborhood? You. You are in your neighborhood. Go and spread that love, that grace, that mercy, forgiveness. And remember, it's abundant. It never runs out. And that will spread through neighborhood and neighborhood and neighborhood. Amen. would you please stand as you're able as we sing our